You click to discover how one of World War II's most underestimated aircraft became the nightmare German pilots never saw coming. Stick around because this story has more twists than a fighter's evasive roll. April 15th, 1943. Over occupied Belgium at 25,000 feet, Captain Werner Schroer spotted incoming American fighters. He radioed his wingmen with disbelief. The Americans are flying barrels. German pilots burst into laughter. They had dominated European skies for years with sleek fighters like the Messerschmitt 109 and Focke-Wulf 190. These new American planes looked like someone strapped wings to a water tank. The P-47 Thunderbolt was enormous. At over 4 tons empty, it was twice as heavy as a Spitfire. Its massive radial engine stuck out like a beer belly on a sprinter. German pilots nicknamed it the Jug, short for juggernaut. Early models were called Razorbacks for their angular canopies. None were compliments. The Germans had reason to be confident. Their fighters could outturn and outclimb these newcomers at low altitudes. The P-47 climbed slowly, taking nearly 12 minutes to reach 30,000 feet, 3 minutes longer than a Spitfire. The Thunderbolt seemed destined to be target practice. But the Germans were about to learn a very expensive lesson. Never judge a fighter by its silhouette. The P-47 packed a devastating surprise. 8 Browning 50 caliber machine guns, 4 in each wing. More firepower than any other single-engine American fighter. Each gun fired up to 850 rounds per minute. All 8 together delivered over 9 pounds of lead per second. A 5-second burst put 500 rounds into a 3-foot target area. The ammunition mix was deadly. Armor-piercing rounds, incendiaries, and tracers alternated. The incendiaries punched through armor, severed components, and ignited fuel tanks. The Thunderbolt carried 3,400 rounds total. Pilots had 30 seconds of continuous fire. A P-51 Mustang only carried 1,800 rounds for 6 guns. More ammunition meant more chances to hit and more confidence. German pilots discovered that getting hit by a Thunderbolt was like hitting a brick wall. At 200 yards, armor-piercing rounds could defeat nearly an inch of face-hardened steel. Against aircraft, rounds tore through aluminum and vital components. Engine blocks cracked, fuel lines severed, control surfaces shredded. When you saw a P-47 diving with all 8 guns firing, survival instincts kicked in. German pilots admitted the sight alone made them break off attacks. One Luftwaffe veteran acknowledged that American 50 calibers were highly effective. That was quite the compliment from the enemy. On June 26, 1943, Lieutenant Robert Johnson learned exactly how tough the P-47 could be. Johnson was escorting bombers when 16 Focke-Wulf 190s ambushed his formation. A German fighter pumped 21 20mm cannon shells into his Thunderbolt. The canopy shattered. Hydraulic fluid blinded him. A bullet grazed his nose. Shrapnel hit his legs. The cockpit caught fire. His plane spun toward the ground. Johnson fought the controls and pulled out. The fire went out. Blinded and flying without instruments, he pointed toward the English Channel. Then a German ace pulled up behind him. Johnson's canopy was jammed. He could not bail out. The German emptied his 20mm cannons. The P-47 kept flying. Frustrated, he switched to machine guns. Still flying. Third attack, spraying bullets wingtip to wingtip. The Thunderbolt refused to die. Out of ammunition, the German pulled alongside. He stared in disbelief. Then he rocked his wings in salute and flew away. Johnson nursed his fighter home. Mechanics stopped counting at 200 bullet holes without walking around the aircraft. The plane was scrapped, but it brought its pilot home alive. Johnson recovered in 5 days. He went on to score 27 victories, becoming a top American ace, flying only P-47s. Stories like this spread through squadrons. Pilots preferred to belly-land damaged jugs because the airframe held together. Some flew home with cylinders shut off. The P-47's engine could take punishment that would doom liquid-cooled engines. One coolant hit on a Messerschmitt 109 meant death. The P-47 kept going. By autumn 1943, American pilots figured out how to win. They climbed to 30,000 feet where the Thunderbolt's turbocharged engine gave them superiority. From that height, P-47 pilots became aerial predators. They dove at speeds exceeding 500 miles faster than almost any fighter could match. Altitude, speed, and 850 caliber guns were devastating. Germans called it boom and zoom. Americans called it winning. The Thunderbolt would fire, damage targets, then zoom climb back before defenders could react. Germans tried steep climbs to evade. In early 1944, P-47s received paddle blade propellers that increased climb rate by 40%. That advantage vanished. The Thunderbolt also had a water injection system, giving pilots 800 extra horsepower in emergencies. The turbo supercharger pipes glowed red hot and the engine screamed. P-47 pilots could outrun opponents or climb away at will. Major Joseph Priller, a top German ace, initially mocked the Thunderbolt. By war's end, he called it the perfect fighter bomber. Its guns never jammed and exceeded expectations. German commanders admitted they misjudged American design. The Germans built elegant fighters. Americans built something different. Mass-produced, heavily armed, built for survival. The P-47 transformed into a deadly ground attacker. Later versions he hauled up to 2,500 pounds of bombs and rockets. A single P-47 delivered half the payload of a B-17. From D-Day to VE Day, P-47 pilots destroyed 86,000 railroad cars, 9,000 locomotives, 6,000 armored vehicles, and 68,000 trucks. During one attack near Ronsi, Thunderbolts destroyed 66 tanks, 204 vehicles, and 11 guns in one afternoon. The 56th Fighter Group became legendary. Under Colonel Hub Zemke, the Wolfpack remained the only 8th Air Force unit flying Thunderbolts by choice. They claimed 670.5 air victories and 311 ground kills at the cost of 128 aircraft. Major Francis Gabby Gabreski became the top American ace in Europe with 28 victories, all in a Thunderbolt. He survived 266 missions, a crash landing, and a German POW camp. Years later, he explained the P-47's effectiveness. That added power meant I could fight the enemy over his territory at all altitudes and break off at will. America built 15,683 P-47s between 1941 and 1945, more than any other American fighter. They flew over 746,000 sorties. The aircraft achieved a 4.6 to 1 kill ratio. Only 3,499 were lost to all causes in combat, a loss rate of just 0.07 per mission. The P-47 served beyond World War II. Countries like Turkey, Peru, and Italy flew Thunderbolts into the 1960s. The design influenced modern aircraft. Its firepower, durability, and versatility set standards that ground attack aircraft still follow today. German pilots learned their lesson the hard way. The aircraft they mocked became the fighter they feared most. When 850 caliber machine guns opened fire from a diving Thunderbolt, mockery turned to terror. The Jug proved that in aerial combat, looking good does not matter. Going home does. The P-47 brought its pilots home better than almost any fighter in history. The Germans laughed at first, but the P-47 had the last word, written in lead, across the skies of Europe. Image generations.